Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for Z Nation Season 3. And what I want to do with this video is review the latest episode of Z Nation, which was called They Grow Up So Quickly. If you are not caught up with Z Nation and you do not want to be spoiled in any way, then I suggest you exit the video now and come back later, because otherwise you will be spoiled. Okay. So overall, I actually liked this episode. Even though a majority of the cast members were not in this episode because the groups have split, I really liked revisiting this storyline. I think from last week's episode with what happened with Vasquez and all that stuff, I actually really liked the different turn that the story took. I liked how they explored Lucy's character. I liked that the man came back. I liked how we had seen what was going on with that. So I really liked this episode. I was very, very happy with it. And I'm hoping that next week will be just as good. We'll have to wait and see. But as you can tell by the title of the episode and the promo, we are finally seeing Lucy again for the first time since Season 2. We saw a little sneak peek of her at the end of the previous episode. Doc and Addie arrived at Ma and Pa Kettle's house. They call them Ma and Pa. It was the individuals that Murphy left Lucy with back in Season 2, the same episode that Cassandra was killed in. This was the episode that happened in, and ever since then, Lucy has been raised by Ma and Pa. Murphy bit them, gave them specific instructions, it turned out, that one day he would come back or he would send somebody back to get Lucy. And of course, Doc and Addie show up. Ma and Pa Kettle have no idea who they are, so they bring them into the house, tie them up, and they interrogate them. And you saw in this episode just how dedicated Ma and Pa were to their cause. That was a very big theme of the episode, because we see that Murphy has had a lot of influence over the individuals that he has bitten, and this was no exception. Ma and Pa specifically took care of Lucy. They had raised her, protected her, probably from different threats all around them. They basically were protecting Lucy for Murphy's return, and they heavily interrogate Doc and Addie. They really are intense. They do kind of remind you of the way that they were back in the Season 2 episode they were introduced in. They don't take a lot of crap. They are very, very smart individuals. And, Doc and Addie, they're able to tell some of the truth, but not all of the truth. They acknowledge that they know Murphy. They were there for Lucy's birth. They protected her. They're there to protect her, but they don't tell the parents that they were sent by Warren. They don't want them to know that. They just take on the assumption that they are back for Murphy, that Murphy sent them rather than Warren. They have no idea what's going on, of course, in Washington. So eventually, Ma and Pa realize that Doc and Addie are lying, at least about some of it, because what ends up happening is it turns out there was a password that Murphy had left, and they didn't know the password. So eventually they were getting ready to kill Doc and Addie, but Lucy stopped them. Lucy said that she wanted to play with them. And throughout some of the episode, Lucy was actually telepathically communicating through Ma and Pa what she wanted to say. So she does have some of the abilities that her father, Murphy, has. You do see that when she communicates through them. But when we see the character of Lucy, we see that she is a very young girl who almost is like any other girl, really. She's very youthful. She's very somewhat innocent about the way that the world really is. She's really been sheltered in this home with Ma and Pa, so she doesn't know a lot of the outside circumstances that are going on. She just knows that she has a father out there that in a sense, is a very powerful man who is Murphy. She does know about that. And really, she just spends her days like any other normal 5 to 7 year old child does. That's what I assume her age was when the episode starts, somewhere between 5 and 7. So she takes Doc and Addie outside, and of course she has zombies for playmates. She uses zombies, dresses them up in various kids' costumes, like a pirate, a couple dressed up like knights, one was dressed up like Raggedy Ann, and she wants to play hide and seek. She wants to play with Doc and Addie and with the zombies, so the zombies hide. Doc goes and finds everybody, and unfortunately he runs into one of the zombies, the Raggedy Ann zombie, during this game. And the zombie attacks Doc, and Doc is forced to kill the zombie. And of course, it turns out Lucy has no idea what mercying is. Of course, many young children do not know what the concept of death is. And even with Lucy in this environment, she has no idea what that is. Ma and Pa have really protected her from a lot of those sad elements of life. And of course, she doesn't understand. She gets very upset when she finds out that Doc killed a zombie, and she runs off. And Addie and Pa end up going after her, and they split up. And Lucy ends up running into this clearing, which, if you paid very close attention, and if I'm correct about this, I think they put in a little nod to Cassandra in this episode, because Lucy comes across this spot where there's this flower growing out of the ground, this pink flower, and you hear the music from Cassandra's music box way back in episode 2, Fracking Zombies. So I think that she came upon Cassandra's grave when she came to this point, and one of the Enders came out and wanted to attack her, was basically threatening her. Lucy got scared. Addie shows up and saves Lucy from this Ender. And this really makes Lucy trust her. You see that Lucy does appreciate Addie, that she does see the connection there. And you do see there's a love bond growing between the two of them. So Lucy really comes to trust Addie more in the episode because of what she did. When they go back, Doc and Addie end up telling Lucy a story about her real parents, because she does realize that Ma and Pa are not her real parents. She knows that she has a different mom and a different dad, that being Murphy and Serena. And Doc and Addie, in a sense, just kind of like how you would with children, you like to make a story a little bit more extravagant than it really is. They paint it like a fairy tale. They really make the situation out to seem like Murphy and Serena were the king and queen of the apocalypse, that they were living in a castle and everything was great. And they, splice the story a little bit with what really happened. You saw scenes of the group coming upon the sisters community. You saw the scenes when Serena rejoined the group in season 2 at the end of episode 4. So you really saw a couple of those scenes, but really Doc and Addie really made it a little bit more magical so that Lucy could follow along. And she's made to think that her mother is growing up in some faraway land and has to be away, kind of like in a fairy tale, when of course we know that Serena is actually dead. So you see that Lucy definitely is a very interesting character, one that I think we're curious to see just how big her powers are, what kind of an influence can she have on her father, as well as what might happen to her later on, because there comes a point in the story in this episode where things take a big turn, and that is the man has returned. We've been wondering where he was ever since he cut off his hand and left Murphy's group. Well, it turns out that somehow he got some new prosthetic or robotic hand. I don't know what that thing was. And he ends up coming to the house, and he ends up subduing Ma and Pa. He takes them and ties them to chairs and stabs them and impales them to the chairs, and he takes Lucy away. Doc finds Ma and Pa, because Doc and Addie were getting ready to take Lucy back with them. They were going to take her, and Ma and Pa seemed willing to do this in the end. Well, what ends up happening is Doc goes out and he finds Ma and Pa, and he sets them free, and Ma and Pa think that Doc actually had something to do with it. Again, you see this big, powerful connection that Ma and Pa have, and just how much they're willing to do to protect Lucy, but unfortunately, they kind of aim it in the wrong direction. They think that Doc and Addie were behind the kidnapping attempt, and what ends up happening is the man ends up driving off with Lucy, and he had knocked out Addie, so she wasn't able to give chase. Doc sees all this, and then Ma and Pa come out with the knives still sticking out of them. They're just enraged. They're at this point where they can't be rationalized with anymore, and unfortunately, Doc and Addie are forced to kill them. So we do see the end of Ma and Pa in this episode, and obviously they have taken off. Now, what Addie and Doc end up doing is Addie's going to go after Lucy and the man on the motorcycle. Then Doc is going to go to this satellite so that he can communicate with Citizen Z and try to get some form of contact. So they split up. Now, when we get to the point where the man and Lucy are in the car, they've taken off. And Lucy is, like how some children are, they kind of pester adults if they're either bored or something's going on. Lucy does just that. She ends up asking question after question after question, and the man gets sick of her and actually shocks her, like electrically shocks her, but it doesn't bother her at all. So, of course, the man is very resourceful. He knows different techniques to deal with different people, and sadly, he ends up taking this, either a shirt or a bag or something, and puts it over Lucy's head and ties a knot around it so that it's choking her. It's physically choking her. And what we find out in this episode is that there is a true connection between Murphy and Lucy, whether Murphy necessarily realized it or not. He kind of had different feelings throughout the episode, and when Lucy was taken, he all of a sudden gets woken up from his nap like he's living, like he just experienced some kind of nightmare. When Lucy is being choked, he feels her being choked. So obviously we see this connection between the two of them that is stronger than maybe just what the human bonds are that we feel, but it's really more physical, like the telepathic powers that they have. Now, what is very shocking is that at the very end, the man pulls the car over and takes the bag off of Lucy's head. And not only do we see that she's okay, but she aged again. It was very, very interesting because at the beginning of the episode, the parents had noted that Lucy aged quicker because she was happier. Well, obviously, it seems like if she gets scared or pressured, she can age more. Now she looks almost, I would say, anywhere between the ages of 10 and 12, I would think. She does age several years just sitting in the back of the car. So I have to wonder if other threats will pose towards her in this episode coming up, maybe later on in the season. We may end up seeing Lucy growing into, an even older person, maybe a teenager, maybe a young adult. I could see that happening. But it is clear that she is able to age herself, whether she does it knowingly, unknowingly, whether it's her body reacting, she can do this. And I will be interested to see how it will play an effect later on in this season if it does. Then the only other thing that was really going on in this episode was Murphy and 10,000. We were kind of left off with a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end because Murphy is able to successfully brainwash 10,000 again. He makes him play the knife game where you stick the knife in between your fingers in a succession without stabbing yourself. I guess it's a game that people play, not a game I've ever played before, but he's able to brainwash him again. Basically, he gives 10,000 the injection that would make him human, and 10,000 won't take it. Murphy, in a sense, removes this idea of 10,000's identity. Says, I know you called yourself 10,000 because you wanted to kill 10,000 zombies. That was your mission. That's no longer your mission, kid. You have a different mission now. And we see the recurrence of 10,000's real name, Tommy, in this episode. And Murphy ends up giving him a new mission. And we see at the very end of the episode, it seems that 10,000 is once again under Murphy's control, maybe under his complete control now, not only physically, but mentally as well. 10,000 spent the episode pretty much silent, so we don't know if maybe he's faking it, if there's something else going on, we don't know. But he leaves the compound and he's going to complete Murphy's new mission. He's given a piece of paper and he opens it at the end. And I kind of read from the back of it, I think it said something along the lines of, find Warren and bring her to me, or else she will kill you, or something like that. I know the word kill was in there at the bottom, but I'm not sure whether he said that he worded it in a way that to say you need to do this 10,000 or else you're in danger, or whether it says something else. But I think it did say find Warren and bring her to me. So I think we're going to see 10,000 potentially going back undercover. We're going to see him appear, maybe try to get the group to trust him, and when they least expect it, then maybe he's going to betray them. That, or maybe we're going to see a battle taking place in one of the future episodes, and during the battle, 10,000 might take Warren away. That's what I think is going to happen. But definitely a lot of things coming up in the next few episodes. I am definitely excited to see how Z Nation will conclude its third season and to see what they have to offer us. So with that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. I want to thank all of you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if you have any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see, don't be afraid to suggest them. Have a very wonderful evening, and thank you all very much for watching.